And I think there's three guys that I'm comfortable saying are three of the five best players ever. And it's Kareem, LeBron, and MJ.
Kobe had no flaws. I don't like talking about guys' flaws, but if we're talking about the greatest ever, we should be allowed to pick apart people's games. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. You can't have any flaws.
Because everybody, when they talk about the most skilled players, the same guys always get brought up. It's Kyrie, it's Kobe, maybe Kevin Durant's in there. They don't talk about LeBron. They don't talk about Shaq, because to them, the best player is based on aesthetics, not necessarily performance and effectiveness.
The entire room froze the moment Andre Iguodala dropped one forbidden word, flawless. In an instant, the basketball world erupted. Clips went viral, debates turned toxic, and social media melted down as fans realized Iguodala had broken the unwritten law of modern NBA media. You are not allowed to say Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were on a different level. But he didn't just say it. He said it with the conviction of a man who'd battled them, studied them, and understood what greatness felt like up close. And nothing could have prepared anyone for what happened next. The moment the word flawless slipped out of Andre Iguodala's mouth, the entire studio shifted. You could almost feel the temperature drop. Conversations about all-time greats are usually safe, predictable, sanitized. Everyone smiles, praises every superstar equally, and avoids stepping on landmines. But that single word shattered the script. Flawless isn't just praise, it's a declaration. It separates legends from mortals. And in the hypersensitive world of modern NBA media, calling any player flawless immediately implies that someone else isn't. That's exactly why players never say it publicly. The moment you call one guy perfect, you've automatically exposed the flaws of another. And in today's landscape, the player you're never allowed to put under that microscope is LeBron James. That's the unwritten rule Iguodala broke in real time, not with anger, not with drama, but with a calm honesty that made the moment even more powerful. Watch JJ Redick's face the second Iguodala says it. His eyes widen, his posture stiffens, and his brain starts sprinting. You see the panic flash across his expression. Not fear of Iguodala, but fear of what that word meant. JJ knew instantly that this wasn't a harmless compliment. It was a statement with consequences. You can almost see him recalculating the entire conversation, preparing his defense before Iguodala even finishes his sentence. Because when a respected defender uses flawless to describe Kobe and Michael Jordan, it carries psychological weight. It means perfection. It means completeness. It means no weaknesses, a standard that exposes everyone who falls short. But Iguodala wasn't finished. What made Iguodala's statement hit so hard wasn't just the word he used, it was who said it. This wasn't a fan, a podcaster, or a guy reacting from his couch. This was Andre Iguodala, one of the smartest defensive minds of his generation, a finals MVP, a player whose value came from solving impossible basketball puzzles in real time. When he says a player has no flaws, he's not talking about pretty footwork or cool highlights. He's talking about something far more brutal. There is no blueprint to stop you. Throughout his career, Iguodala studied legends the way a surgeon studies anatomy. Kobe, Jordan, Durant, LeBron, he was paid to break them down, expose their weaknesses, and exploit whatever tiny openings existed. Every game was a test, every possession an exam. And defenders like him don't live in the world of stats or narratives. They live in the world of angles, tendencies, and survival. To them, a player is either solvable or unsolvable. That's why his words carry weight. A defender knows instantly if he has an entry point. A shaky handle, a predictable drive, a soft jumper, a weak left hand hesitation under pressure. Analytics can tell you efficiency. Charts can show you zones. But only the eye test reveals whether a superstar can actually be manipulated. Iguodala wasn't praising Kobe and MJ because of nostalgia. He was speaking the language of defenders. If I can't find your weakness, you're flawless. And when he positioned Kobe and MJ in a category above everyone else, everything cracked. The moment Iguodala placed Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in their own category, the conversation crossed into forbidden territory. He didn't yell, he didn't exaggerate, he simply drew a quiet line in the sand. Kobe and MJ were complete. Everyone else, even the greats, were not. He didn't have to mention LeBron by name. The implication was already deafening. In today's NBA media climate, suggesting that LeBron has gaps in his game is treated like a crime. And declaring that two players were complete, meaning LeBron wasn't, shattered the script that analysts have been polishing for a decade. This is exactly why the take was so threatening. Modern media has invested years into portraying LeBron as untouchable, flawless narrative proof. Entire platforms, careers, and identities revolve around pushing him as the undisputed number one. So when a player with Iguodala's credibility casually says Kobe and MJ had no weaknesses, he's not just elevating them, he's destabilizing the entire hierarchy that keeps basketball debates predictable. And fans felt it instantly. Social media went into full meltdown mode. Twitter threads turned into battlefield trenches. Kobe fans celebrated like someone just cracked a vault open. MJ loyalists treated it like confirmation from a prophet. LeBron supporters went nuclear, accusing Iguodala of disrespect, jealousy bias, anything to protect the larger narrative. The reaction wasn't about basketball. It was about identity ego and the fear of losing control over the story people have been repeating for years. And that's when JJ executed the classic media escape move. The instant Iguodala drew that line between complete and not complete, JJ Redick did what every seasoned media figure does when they sense their argument collapsing. He changed the battlefield. Instead of staying in the lane, Iguodala created the lane of pure basketball skill. JJ swerved hard into a completely different metric resume: longevity, efficiency, advanced stats. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about flaws anymore. It wasn't about footwork counters, shot making, or defensive pressure. It was about career accomplishments, eras, context, and every statistical shield available to avoid addressing the core point. And that's the beauty of the move. By changing the topic, he never had to challenge what Iguodala actually said. He didn't have to explain how Kobe or MJ were somehow flawed. He didn't have to argue against their completeness. He simply reframed the debate into something he could control, something measurable, something that favored LeBron and the modern metrics philosophy he's built his media identity on. This moment exposed a deeper truth about basketball discourse. There are two different realities. The eye test world, the world players live in, where skill pressure and human tendencies decide games. And the analytics world, the world media lives in, where spreadsheets and charts flatten greatness into numbers. Modern analysts avoid direct skill comparisons because skill can't be sanitized. Skill can't be manipulated with efficiency stats. Skill either exists or it doesn't. And when players talk skill, the truth becomes impossible to hide. But you can't hide flaws forever. When Iguodala used the word flawless, he wasn't talking about perfection in a highlight reel. He was talking about completeness, the rare ability to beat a defender no matter what strategy they use. True basketball completeness isn't a mystery. It's a checklist, and only a few names in history have ever passed every category. Shot creation. Kobe and MJ could create a clean look from nothing. Dribble, pivot, fake, pull-up, they had answers for every defensive scheme. Mid-range mastery. This was their hunting ground. A lost art today, but they treated it like a weapon designed for closing games. Footwork, polished textbook, unstoppable. They used timing and angles the way surgeons use precision tools. Free throws, automatic. No fear, no slumps. When the game tightened, they cashed in. Clutch shot making. They didn't hesitate. They didn't defer. They wanted those moments, and more importantly, they delivered. Finishing at the rim. Both could absorb contact, adjust, midair, and still finish. Mentality. The part numbers can never capture. Relentless, unshakable, demanding pressure rather than avoiding it. Now compare that to LeBron. He checks many boxes, sometimes even dominates them, finishing, passing, physicality, IQ. But he doesn't check all of them. His free throws have always been inconsistent. His mid-range comes and goes. His shot creation can falter in the tightest moments. Even his mentality has moments where he defers instead of taking control. These aren't insults. They're observable realities the flaws fans pretend not to see. And this brings us to the real fight. Here's the part Iguodala didn't have to spell out. Every elite defender knows it already. For all of LeBron's greatness, there has always been a blueprint to contain him. Not shut him down, not neutralize him completely, but limit him in ways you could never do with Kobe or Jordan. The strategy hasn't changed in 20 years. Pack the paint. Force jumpers. Make him shoot free throws late. It's simple, it's obvious, and every playoff team has tried it. Sometimes LeBron overpowers it with strength or playmaking. Sometimes he breaks it with sheer brilliance. But the fact remains, there is a plan. Now compare that to Kobe or MJ. What was the blueprint? What defensive scheme consistently worked? Give them space. They'd rise over you. Crowd them. They'd blow by or pivot into a shot you couldn't contest. Double team. They'd split it or punish the rotation. Force mid-range. That was their sweet spot. Send them to the line. Automatic points. Late game pressure. They fed off it. Coaches accepted a brutal reality. You can't stop Kobe or Jordan. You can only pray to slow them. They were complete scorers, unpredictable, multi-layered, impossible to funnel in one direction. There was no weak zone, no preferred outcome, no safe option. Defenders showed up hoping to survive, not strategize. That contrast, a workable plan versus no plan at all, is the heart of Iguodala's argument. It's why calling Kobe and MJ flawless carries real meaning. And it's why the debate around it became so emotional. But this debate isn't just about basketball. This debate didn't explode because of basketball. It exploded because Iguodala accidentally touched a pressure point the modern NBA media has spent years protecting. For the past decade, an enormous amount of media investment has gone into framing LeBron as the unquestioned number one. Entire shows, podcasts, networks, and personalities have built their identity around the idea that LeBron is the GOAT. Their audience expects it. Their brand depends on it. Their numbers grow because of it. So when someone with real on-court credibility casually says Kobe and MJ were flawless, he's not just rating players, he's threatening the foundation that keeps many media careers alive. Criticizing LeBron's flaws isn't treated like evaluating a player. It's treated like attacking the entire modern ecosystem. That's why the backlash was instant and violent. It wasn't just, how dare you disrespect LeBron? It was, how dare you challenge the narrative we've built an empire on? Fans reacted the same way. Millions have spent years defending LeBron online, arguing with strangers, memorizing stats, living inside this GOAT conversation. If LeBron has flaws, real, undeniable flaws, then the identity they've built around protecting him starts to crack. Iguodala didn't just offer an opinion, he threatened a belief system. And that's why the reaction felt so personal. He didn't just spark a debate, he opened a wound. And then comes the real question. Iguodala didn't give a hot take. He didn't attack anyone. He simply told the truth the way a player sees it. And that single moment exposed the fault line running through every NBA debate today. On one side is the eye test the world players live in, where pressure, footwork counters, and emotional toughness decide everything. On the other side is the metrics world, the one media depends on, where greatness is calculated through efficiency charts, PER formulas, and longevity stats. What Iguodala did was force those two worlds to collide. He spoke player truth, not media truth. He talked skill, not resume. He focused on purity, not narrative protection. And that's exactly why the reaction was so chaotic. Modern discussions aren't built to handle honesty. Analysts are rewarded for defending their established narratives. Fans are conditioned to choose a side and never budge. Platforms thrive on arguments, not clarity. But when Iguodala calmly said Kobe and MJ were flawless, he bypassed all the noise and went straight to the essence of basketball, and that made the entire system feel threatened. Because if player truth starts outweighing media truth, the rankings change, the debates change, the power shifts. Suddenly, the game isn't about who lasted the longest or who has the prettiest charts. It becomes about who was actually the hardest to stop when the lights were brightest. And deep down, everyone knows that answer isn't always the one the media pushes, which leads to the final truth everyone avoids. In the end, Iguodala didn't ignite chaos because he favored Kobe or MJ. He ignited chaos because he told the truth in a world built on narratives. This debate was never really about rankings. It was about honesty versus protection, eye test versus storyline, player reality versus media mythology. And it took a rare kind of courage for a former champion to say what everyone else was too afraid to admit. So here's the question that lingers long after the clip ends. Are we allowed to talk about greatness honestly, or only the version the narrative approves?